Yes, YouTube, what are we saying? So today we're going to talk about how you can fit in full meals, steps, cardio and training whilst working night shifts, 9 to 5s, and evening shift like you're a waiter. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with nights. So with this one, you are at an advantage that you can train midday. So the gym is going to be a little more quiet and you can most probably get more stuff done. Let's say you wake up at 1 p.m. If you're cutting, I would recommend just fasting, or you can have some light carb snacks on the way, like a banana, rice cakes, for example, or even a squares bar, just so you've got a bit of kick. But the main thing is you wake up and hydrate. If you're bulking, you can always start your first meal with some food, then train. But if you're cutting, I'd recommend pushing your first meal back a little bit further into the day, just so you're not starving in the evening time. So what you can do in gym, you've got an hour and a half to an hour's worth of gym and half an hour of cardio. Boom, you get back to yours. This is where you have around 2:30 to 6 p.m. where you can have your post-workout meal, you can prep some of your food, get a little bit of steps in, have your second meal, and then you get your way to your work. Realistically, you've got 3.5 hours here to have your first meal, use the air fryer, go out for a small walk, go out for meal 2, maybe even get a little bit more steps in, and then go straight to work. If you're not faffing about, you're not doom scrolling, you can get that done in 3.5 hours. Then obviously what I'd recommend with your last 2 meals is have your meal 3 at the first half of your shift and then your meal 4 at the last half of your shift. Just don't have that last meal too late because you might not be able to sleep. So with a 9 to 5, the only downside is that if you're not a morning person, you have to train in the evening when it's super busy. However, if you are a morning person, you can always swap this around, just train in the morning, get out of the way. That's what I would do. So first and foremost, wake up around 6 or even 6:30 to be fair. And what I want you to do is I want you to prep your food and do some of your steps if you can, right? It would make sense for you to prepare your food for the day or at least get some of your steps done. That way, obviously, you can keep your needs high and it can keep you in that calorie deficit. Then you'd have your first meal, I would say around 8 a.m. and you've got enough time to eat it and then drive straight to work. You might have to push them one further back just in case you have to travel a little bit far or it's traffic. Then obviously when you're at your 9 to 5, then have your meal 2 and that'd be around lunchtime. Once that's done, quickly drive back to your house, have your pre-workout meal, train, and then obviously you have 2 hours to do an hour and a half session, 30 minutes of cardio, and you can have your last meal, which would be your post-workout meal, before you go to sleep at 10 p.m. And if you are a morning person, what you can always do is train in the morning, have your first meal, have your lunch, have your third meal, and then prep your food, do your steps in the evening time, which is what I would recommend. So excuse me for my shit handwriting, but this is what I would do. Let's say I was working evening shift from around 2 p.m. to 12 p.m. First and foremost, I'd wake up around 8. By the time you finish your shift, go to sleep, you might wake up around that time. The first hour, what I would do is I would prep my food and I would do a little bit of steps. Then when it gets to around 9:30, I'd have my first meal. I then trained for 2 hours, hour and a half training, 30 minutes of cardio. From 11:30 to 2 p.m, you then have enough time to get back to yours, shower, have your meal 2, and then drive to work at 2 p.m. Then that's when across the 10 hours, I would have my third meal and my fourth meal. I wouldn't have the last meal so late, finish work, go back to mine, sleep, bosh, repeat the process. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. But if you got to in this video, thank you very much for watching and I shall see you lot in a bit.